All right, welcome everyone. We are back again, BTB Analytics. I am Steve. That is Seth. We are down one man and Kevin, but the show must go on. We are going to give you some model breakdowns. We're going to talk about 4 matchups this week, give you one free model prediction, and tease what we are betting on this week as well. But speaking of that model, I just want to give a quick shout out. Went 5-2 last week. Absolutely amazing week there. We hope to do more of that and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's kind of hop into some of these games to give you some breakdown, give you some insights. And that first game is going to be Rams versus the Jaguars in Wembley Stadium in London, the London game here. All right, so open it up. So Rams coming in 4-2, Jags 4-2. Both teams coming along, trying to prove they belong in really this top third. Rams are in a fresh, they're fresh off this win over Baltimore and the backups, which quite frankly didn't look as sexy as probably it should have been. And then Jacksonville coming off kind of a heartbreaking, frustrating loss to the Seahawks here. Now, the line here is -3. Our model makes this -3 as well for the Rams. So at the 3, there is no edge on either side. But Seth, tell the people they're getting up early. It's a morning game. They got to get that action in. What's something they need to know about this matchup before they place that bet?
Yeah, so LA is our number 7th offense going up against Jacksonville's number 21st defense. And Jacksonville's the number 25th offense in our database going up against the 14th best defense in the LA Rams. I think the one thing people should know, and I thought that was pretty interesting here for the 3, is when we look at the quarterback play, something we find very predictive. Trevor Lawrence, number 14th in our database. Matthew Stafford, number 15th. Trevor Lawrence in the last 10 games is actually playing a little bit better, or at least equivalent to Matthew Stafford, which I thought was really, really interesting. Now, both these teams are a rush first, Jacksonville is a rush first team, and LA is a pass first team. So when we look to see where they're going to have success, it looks like LA is going to lean on Stafford in the passing game, and Jacksonville is going to lean on the run game there. Like you said, we're kind of right on market. We make this number exactly 3 as well for this team, where we do favor the Rams by 3, just like the market. On the total, we make the number 55.5. Current market is at 44.5. So not a ton of value there. We would kind of slightly lean in the direction of the over, but those are all kind of dead numbers. You're not getting a huge probability. So I don't know. For this game, it's kind of ugly. It's the Jaguars have the experience going to London. You got old man Stafford that I have to eat my words. He's definitely played very well this season. He hasn't had any injury concerns, but is he just one hit away? I'm not sure if it's that extreme anymore. But, you add all of that travel. They literally have to travel across the world here from LA to London. I don't know. Does that add some stress here? No, this Rams offense, though, is the real deal. Rams number 3 in success rate. Jacksonville, again, number 21 in offensive success rate.
Yeah, no, and that's a great call out here. And it's one thing, I want to throw out there too, because this is one of the ones you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, in the last 10 EPA. I mean, this is a guy who's definitely looking like they're taking a step forward with that offense, even though the Jaguars really rely on ETN. But that to me, is going to be the matchup to look at because, we talk about defensive success rate and, pass and rush EPA. Shout out PFF. Rams run defensive grade, second best in the NFL here. And so if ETN can't get it going and they put it all on Lawrence's back, can he continue to have that success? To me, that is to be seen here. And then other thing to look out for, you mentioned about, old man Stafford being injured and whatnot. One thing to keep an eye on, Puka Nacua, still day-to-day with that ankle injury. If he can't go, does that shift more to Devontae Adams eating a lot of that offensive offensive game plan to Atwell, et cetera. But I mean, to me, I think I'm with you, Seth. It's a neutral field. -3 seems right. I mean, it seems like these are two teams that, quite frankly, can be evenly matched, and there's no true home field advantage. But it sounds like Rams are really the ones who are going to eke this out, both in our database and from the Vegas line. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're basically right on market here. It's hard to kind of squeeze value out of a stone, so to speak. So for me, I'm staying asleep. I guess I'm on the West Coast. I won't be waking up for that 6:30 kickoff. I guess we'll say that.
Yeah. One last thing. Again, I'm not saying this is going to be anything that's going to be a matchup, but I know people are talking about this. Jags arrived Tuesday So they got there first, actually, over the Rams. So see how that plays. That's always a big thing, right? When do you get there? How do you do all of the preparation and whatnot? So we'll see though. But yeah,
It's a
I
big
hear
deal.
you there. Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
no,
and the Jags have played this game more than anyone. This London game. This is kind of their staple. And I think the push is maybe one day the Jags will be the London team. But so they know what this travel's like. Now, I don't know. I've heard Matthew Stafford talk about how the Rams handle the East travel, and they're basically saying like just get there, play, and get the hell out. So I don't know, if that's going to work when you're traveling, 8 hours plus in the time zones there, where literally when you wake up, you're going to bed and kind of flipping that. But that's definitely a potential strength here. The Jags know how to do this, but at the end of the day, these are NFL teams, and they should be ready to go.
Yeah, 100% well said. Okay, so no value on that game for us, but don't worry, there are plenty of other things where we do have value betting on this week. We're going to give you one free model play at the end here. We're going to tease what games we're betting, but if you want to know just straight up, you can always go to btb-analytics.com. We have the model there for every NFL matchup, every D1 college football matchup. We tell you what our model makes it, what the number currently is in the market, what the chances of these teams covering that number are, everything that you need to make a sound bet. We have it for you. Sign up today and see the difference for yourself. Again, 5-2 last week, hitting 60% year to date, which is exactly where we want to be, because that is what winning sports betting actually looks like. All right, moving on. Another NFC. I got an NFC matchup here. The Eagles 4-2 against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, listen, I just told you we went 5-2 last week. One of those losses was on Philadelphia. And Seth, this team, I mean, just by the eye test, not sure what's really been happening these last 2 weeks. And we've talked about this in Philly's teams years past, where it just seems like this team, no matter what they have on paper, just can't seem to put it all together, on the field. Obviously, last year, Super Bowl winners and whatnot, but the year beforehand. But Eagles on a 2-game losing streak, losing to Denver and New York Giants by a combined 31 points, only getting 17 points in back-to-back weeks. Now, the Vikings are coming off a bye week, but there's a little bit of uncertainty in their quarterback room here between injuries. So will J.J. McCarthy and his shoulder get the start? Will Carson Wentz and his shoulder get the start? So that's going to be TBD. But regardless of that, what's something that these people need to know heading into this matchup?
Yeah, this is the potential Carson Wentz revenge spot here in the Eagles here. Look, we were just kind of talking about this in the college show. Philly is a really concerning team to me, and ultimately they're concerning and confusing. You highlighted it. It seems like every season we go through this issue with the Eagles where they have a good record, but they don't cover games and they look like dog shit for, I don't know, 5 games or so. And then they go and they go to the Super Bowl or they win the Super Bowl. And so I obviously don't want to lose the forest for the trees here. The Eagles, I think in the totality of evidence we have, are good. But when we look at individual games, they look really bad and there's concerning. Philly is number 6 overall best offense in our database. They're number 1 defensively. When we look at some of their specific in-season only stats, where we're not looking using a preseason prior and things like this, Philadelphia is number 22 in offensive success rate and number 27 in offensive echo rate. This is horrible. And then on the defensive side, they're in the 30th worst team for echo rate and success rate. So they are nowhere near close to their preseason priors. And the question here is this just a slump? Or are they going to regress to this team that they can be and be this really good team? And quite frankly, I don't know. Our number is -2.5. The market opened around this here for Minnesota, buying the +2.5. Some books now sitting at +1 or 1.5, meaning money's coming in for Minnesota. I'm not sure if I want to be buying Wentz. I'm not sure if I want to be buying McCarthy. This is really just an ugly, ugly game. On the total, we make the number 44. I think the market's dead on there at 44. So no value there. I'm just really concerned about Philadelphia, but I know I've been here before where I'm talking and I'm concerned, and then somehow they turn it on. The question, and I think the one thing that I would hang my hat on that I think we know is Minnesota's defense is for real. who they were last year looks to be who they are this year. So if there is one consistency here, it is likely Minnesota's defense.
Yeah, yeah, and it's gonna have to be here, right? I mean, we talked about these offensive woes, and we're really the woes on both sides, but we tend to focus on the offensive side of the ball. I really have we gotten Saquon going this year? That's one of the obviously the big key parts. We talk about Philadelphia and their run rate over expected because they have this weapon in the backfield, but for the most part, he really hasn't gotten going this year at all. And so, is this the week? I'm not sure that it is, but is this the week that he actually can go against this potentially stout Minnesota defense here? But yeah, without this, I mean, I'm with you. This is one of the ones where I don't know what to believe, right? Because we've been down this road before here. The last thing I'll say is we talk about this kind of schematic chess match with the defense and offense and what they're going to do here. And we talked about this before on the show. Brian Flores leads the NFL in blitz percentage. And so if you're Philadelphia, how are you going to counter with that? How are you going to get your playmakers going? How are you going to get Jalen, get these quick throws, get him out of the pocket, really utilize his running game? That is to be seen here. But I'm with you. This is one of the ones where I'm like, this is just a disgusting game to me.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And then you might have Wentz, which we're a pro hate Wentz podcast. We are fade Wentz at all costs. It's just not the week it feels like to do it, right? It's just a gross week. And then the other side is you might get McCarthy, a rookie. What do we know about McCarthy? Very little.
Yeah. No, that's spot on. That's spot on.
Save your money, kids. There's way better edges in the market. I don't know. I guess I can kind of see the buying here for Minnesota because, like I said, what is the one thing we know or think we know? And that's Minnesota's defense is good, but I feel like Philly could just turn it on at any moment.
Yeah. Well, like you said, that's well said. Save your money, kids, because not only are we going to give you one free model prediction today on this show, we are on 4 official bets, plenty of more value around the league to be had. So stay tuned at the end. And if you're watching and you're staying tuned anyway, if you like this kind of content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel. We're going live every week for college football and NFL, giving you all the value that we can. All right. So with that being said here, let's move on to the next matchup. We've got the Colts. We've got the Chargers here. And quite frankly, I don't know how you feel about this, Seth, but Colts sitting at 6-0 to me at least seems like, I don't know, the most underwhelming undefeated team in recent history of, going into week 7 here with 6-0. I just don't know if they've really played anyone. And listen, the schedule's the schedule. These are all professional athletes, so I don't want to, take anything away from them. But Colts come in, they are scoring though, 29 points in 5 of their last 6 games. Chargers on the meanwhile, I mean, we talked about this the first week of the year where they were playing the Chiefs in Brazil and they were throwing the ball. We thought they were a run-heavy team because that's who they've been, for quite some time now. And they're throwing the ball. The defense looks good, and all of a sudden they've got some really questionable games here, both against New York and then coming back in that dramatic fashion, barely eking out against Miami, which shut out for us because we were on Miami plus 5.5, so that worked in our favor. But this is one of the ones where I'm not quite sure I know who these teams are. So for those who are saying, "Oh, well, listen, the Colts are undefeated. Danny Dimes is running high," or they say the Chargers are playoff contention team. They're clearly the better team. What do you say to those who are looking to bet this game here?
Well, I can tell you this: in-season data, Indianapolis Colts, #1 offensive success rate team, #1 offensive echo rate team. This Colts offense is not messing around. Now, why we use priors here? In the overall sample, the 15-game sample that we also use in the model, they're the 20th best offense. So this is a classic, situation. Are they going to regress to a team that is a little worse than average? Or are they going to continue on this run and being one of the best offenses? Now, the Chargers have their own questions here. We have the Chargers, the number 11th defense in our database and number 16th offense. So we don't have them as one of the best teams in the league yet. We kind of have them as an average team. And to be frank, they almost lost against the Dolphins. And to me, that means our numbers are more right than the market hype because, the Dolphins are dog shit this season. No offense. And then the last question for me that I have here, if I want to be betting this game, is are the Colts the real deal and is Daniel Jones the real deal? We have Daniel Jones in the last 10 as our number 18 overall quarterback. And in his career in our database, he is our number 21st overall ranked quarterback. So my answer to that is Daniel Jones is not really playing so far out of his norm. He's actually being very similar to who he's been in the league. And to me, that's a bit of a data point that it's likely to continue. The Colts' success is likely to continue because it's not all coming from Daniel Jones. And we also see that this is a team that is a run first team, about 3% pass rate, negative pass rate over expected, meaning about a 3% run rate over expected. And so this is a team that is utilizing Daniel Jones to who he is and utilizing his strengths and minimizing his weaknesses, which is what New York can never do. So I'm kind of buying some of the hype here for Indy.
Yeah, yeah, and to me, like this is going to be the game in my mind where we are going to find out who this team really is. This team being Indianapolis, because I'm completely with you. You talk about Daniel Jones in his last 10 EPA and what he's done here, and to me, that is the more shocking thing, or more sign of, oh no, Indy's going to actually be good. Because it's one thing to say, Indiana Jones is just playing out of his mind and he's going to come back down to earth, right? It's another thing to say, oh no, he's been playing how he's always been playing.
Pretty
he's
similar.
just not in New York. He's just in an environment that can actually win a football game because they have more pieces around him. And to me, that is far more sustainable here. And the one thing I will say, going back to some of those stats here, Daniel Jones, 5 games with 100+ passer rating, right? But then you mix that with Jonathan Taylor, who's leading the NFL in rushing yards and touchdowns, that O-line, which is the highest number one run blocking grade O-line in the league right now. You put those things together and you're keeping Daniel Jones upright. Yeah, this absolutely has all the keys to success for Indiana to come through and win this game. And again, I'm with you. This Charger team is just not the same thing, both by the eye test and by the numbers of who we thought they were going to be coming into the season. I think they are far more vulnerable. So I don't necessarily think that this is going to be a blowout by any chance, by any means. I don't even think that Indianapolis are really truly the dogs here. I'm trying to pull back up real quick. I know it was a pretty tight line. Looks like
opened at
market
0, now
consensus
sitting at
plus
1.5.
Yeah.
So markets bought early. I mean, we're still midweek here. A little bit of nibbling, I would say, here on the Chargers. Chargers are riddled with injuries. That's the other thing to look at. When we talk about the over-under, our model is right at 48.5. Market's at 48.5. So we think that this is priced pretty well there, right under the key of 49. I get it's square. I mean, but Colts money line, I'm sure is going to get a lot of tickets because you can get Colts plus money. I don't think it's crazy. The pricing is coming from the fact that the reality is the preseason priors for both of these teams are kind of confusing. I will say the Chargers are kind of playing more around who we thought they were, which is just like a kind of good team. They can be good. And then Indy is obviously blowing everybody out of the water. They're one of the best teams in the league right now. And the question is, are they going to regress? But I don't think they are. I really don't. So I don't know where the public is going to land on this. If it's all like Herbert will bounce back, or if it's just Indy will keep winning.
Yeah. Now I will say, I say all this to say, hopefully no more freak shit happens, because I don't know if you guys saw this. Anthony Richardson broke an orbital bone with the rubber band.
He's in the IR.
Yeah, that's insane. And then I forgot the name of the other player, but the warm ups or another guy like concussed one of his teammates. I've never seen such a devastating warm up in NFL history.
Shout out Cardinals, though. We were on the Cardinals. It was gross all week. The market was just selling. That's why we always bet with a model. You have to take into account multiple variables. You have to price this stuff. That was a great price that we could get on a Cardinals team that basically was getting underpriced for 3 high leverage plays. If you deleted those 3 games from that Arizona-Tennessee game, Arizona wins and covers the game. So just this one doesn't really, there's no overreaction or underreaction. I think the market got this right at open. It's still under any of the key numbers. I think this is pretty much a pick 'em.
Yeah, agreed. And shout out to the chat. Chad in the chat, with this roster, all the Colts needs the 15 best quarterback to win. And listen,
for real,
if that's true, sky's the limit for Indianapolis.
Yeah, so. After the quarterback carousel that they've had, somebody's got to get that tattooed.
For real. For real. For real. Okay. All right. So we got that set up. Moving on to our next game. I think this one's going to be, one of the premier matchups. I think one of the one's going to get the view. I believe this is the Monday night game. We have the Bucks versus the Lions here. Now listen, this is a potential NFC Championship preview, right? I mean, listen, we saw what happened last week. Detroit coming back home and losing 30-17, I think, in a
Yeah.
very, very controversial game, and I'm sure it's going to come up once again because of the whole the NFL's rigged, the refs are on the Chiefs sides, blah blah blah. Bet the Chiefs if you believe that. But listen, can we talk about Baker Mayfield? Because it is not improbable that this dude is legitimately having a MVP run here. I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about injuries. We talked about San Francisco being the epitome of next man up mentality with, Purdy going down and then Jones kind of getting injured in that game and no Pearsall or Ayuk or Juwan Jennings. But Tampa Bay, Mike Evans was out, and you had Chris Godwin injury, Bucky Irving, and all these dudes have been doing
Stepped
is
up.
just winning games, and Baker has been in the middle of that. He's balling. So again, we think his line set at 5.5. No value from where we sit, but Seth, it's a Monday night game. People are going to want to have the action on it. What do they need to know before they place that wager?
Yeah, so Tampa Bay, number 4th overall offense in our database, going up against Detroit's number 9 defense. They obviously struggled against Kansas City, who looked like they got right there on their offensive side of the ball. Detroit, number 2 offense in our database. Tampa Bay, number 8 on defense here. So this is a really evenly matched team, and you can understand why the Lions are favored. Tampa Bay, though, like you said, is red hot. Number 16th in offensive success rate, but number 4 in offensive equal rate. So they are having high explosive plays that are high leverage, but they get successful drives. And that's what all that matters at the end of the day. These teams, though, are both run first teams. Detroit, 8% run rate over expected. Tampa Bay, 2% run rate over expected. So look for both of these teams to be running the ball a lot more than an average team. QB play, Goff, number 4. And like you said, in the last 10 games, Baker Mayfield is number 2 in the database, adding over 10 points per game in each of those 10 starts. So I think if where the wager needs to be, where I would be looking, like we said, Steve said, no value on the -5 on the side. On the totals where I would be looking, we make this number 54 points. You can currently get a 52.5. That's about a 1.2% edge on the over. That's where I'd be looking here. Points. If we saw anything in that game against Kansas City, yes, both these teams are going to run the ball, but it's likely most of these teams will have success doing that. So points here a little bit more than the market thinks.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point you bring up because, we talk about the injuries, especially for Tampa Bay at the receiver position, with Evans and Godwin and then Mecca Ibuka getting hurt with the hamstring. And, to me, this is why it's really important to not overreact and try to be as data driven as possible, right? Because we talk about this, and we talked about this in the 49ers game a couple weeks ago, where, we were on to give out the 49ers, and everyone was like, oh, well, but, this and that, and, they have nobody to play with. But again, all Baker has been doing has been winning games. And if this team, to your point, Seth, can really get the ground game going with Rashad White and everybody else,
Yeah.
there's absolutely a pathway here for them to score and put up points, especially against a Detroit defense that, quite frankly, has left a lot to be valued. Now, shout out producer Eric. He did say, going back to that point about Baker being absolutely that dude. He's now tied for second in MVP odds at plus 300, behind Patrick Mahomes at plus 175, which to me is kind of crazy. I think that's a name brand tax for Mahomes, but I get why they say it. But yeah, I'm with you though. I think this will be a marquee matchup. That's a great Monday night slate.
Yeah, the one question I have for the Bucks is, can they keep going with these explosives? When you have a success rate in the middle of the pack, but you have these high leverage drives where you have to score, you lose the game. At some point, they're going to start losing those games. Now, you could see a run like the Eagles, but at some point, that's stopping. So it's either this season or next. But that's the question. And I don't know. Yeah, Baker looks like he's got it, but he's got it until he doesn't, right? And then all of a sudden they start regressing back to some median, which is, if you got the 16th best play-by-play success rate, you might not be able to just win games in the last drive over and over and over. I mean, even that San Francisco game, it was not close, but they had some really big explosives that they had to lean on to win that game. So if there was a team, I think Detroit probably could squeak this one out. And Tampa Bay beat Detroit last year, so they're top of mind here, that they know Tampa Bay is no slouch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we talk about this too, right? I mean, this is kind of one of the things we look at. And the reason when you want to look at the actual granular picture, not just the box score, because I think this was 3 years ago. We had the same exact thing with the Vikings, where they had some insane record in one score game, like they're 11-1 or something ridiculous. It's like that's not sustainable, because statistically they were a middle of the road team, and we had the plot. They were literally smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
And so, with Tampa Bay being here, I do think there's a little more talent there, but I'm with you. I don't know how sustainable that is when you're thriving and relying on clutch or luck plays or these kind of explosive plays. I don't know how good you can do that for long-term success.
Yeah, and remember that Tampa Bay is a pass funnel team. This is a team that struggles against defending the pass. They're really good at defending the run. The Lions are a run-first team, so are they going to move away from that? What we've measured so far is not really. They seem to just kind of go in who they are and say, fuck it, we're running. If there was a game to move off of it, we're only 6 games into the season, so we don't truly know that these teams are not willing to move off of it. Goff has played well. Goff has stepped up. If there was a game where you're going to see the shift from a run-first team and the Lions to a pass-first offense, this would be the week to do it, and this would be where I would look to target Goff and receivers for attempts and receptions.
Yeah, shut up. And if you have not heard of pass funnels, we have a video on that. We'll put the link down in the description. And if you're not a member, that is an excellent reason to join, because we run these when we find edges. We also send those out along with our sites at BTB-analytics.com. So not only are you getting the model access, you can see spreads, totals, what we're betting. You can also see some of these player props. And the pass funnel, run funnel angle was highly successful for us over the last couple of seasons. So we absolutely will be doing it again. Now, that being said, let's move on. We have our model prediction for you. But before we do that, we're going to give you another prediction off the record, off the numbers, not using the model. It's a friendly competition. Actually, hold on. We may have one more game here. I may have jumped the gun here. Producer Eric, did I see another slide here for the Patriots game?
Oh, no, I think that's the free play.
Okay. All right. Well, then everyone who's doing this live, scratch that. Producer Eric, we're going to cut that in post. That's the beauty of having a producer. That's why we pay him the big bucks. All right. So like I was saying, off the numbers here, a little friendly competition between the three of us. Again, Kevin's not here today. We are going to use our mental model to see where we can find edge here. Now, I mentioned Kevin's not here. I think, Seth, you are in the lead at 4-1-1. I'm not sure about the unit plays, but I'm going to give Kevin's pick first, since he can't defend himself. He's on the Bucks plus 5.5 at -110. I think he's picking up that Baker clutch gene. I think he's going to try to ride that out for one more game. Injuries be damned. But Seth, tell the people, what are you riding with this week?
I am taking a gross one, but I'm going to go with the market here. I am going to take Cleveland Browns -2.5, -110 against the Miami Dolphins. The Fins, dog shit, we talked about. But where are they specifically bad? It's against really good defenses. This is where Tua struggles. I don't know anything about the Cleveland Browns offense. I don't know what we're getting. I don't know who Dylan Gabriel is. But what I do know is Cleveland does have a good defense, and they have the type of defensive line that disrupts the Miami Dolphins. And so it's gross. It's really gross. But give me Cleveland Browns -2.5. Fins down.
I'm trying to keep my dinner in. That's how gross that bet was. But I'm with you. The logic is definitely there, but yuck. I don't know if Eyes is any sexier, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
So I'm doing now. We're on this game for a side here, but I'm going to do this as well for a total.
Okay.
Bengals Steelers under 44.5, -110 at the Caesars. Logic here, AFC North matchup. We all know about Joe Flacco. Now, not just what he's done in his career and what the eye test has been and how bad that O line has been, but when you actually look at Flacco's contributions, QB EPA, last 10 games, he is 32nd in our database. 32nd. I don't know how since he's going to score. I think that the Steelers, I won't give too much away, but I think there's going to be success here, but I think it's going to be one-sided success. And so to me, I just don't see how the points are going. I'm going to completely be square here. I'm going to buy in to the Thursday night garbage bowl, toilet bowl scenarios where there's just no points, this and that. So I'm taking the under here and what should be a good old-fashioned AFC North rock fight. Give me the under 44.5.
Do you want to pull a Kevin, and do you want to parlay this under with our model Pitt -5.5? So you
am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, hell yeah, why not?
I feel like everyone gets one what the fuck was that play? Because I know and Kevin's been abusing it. He has been abusing it. I mean that is definitely my logic though in terms of like trying to predict the game state. Like that is the game state. Is that it's going to be a one-sided affair where they're just not going to put in points. So there is going to be a cover for for the Steelers. So yeah, I'll go back. I'll do the math. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I mean, I'm 2-4. At some point, I gotta start taking chances.
Yeah. What was Kevin's off the numbers again?
Bucks plus 5.5.
Bucks plus 5.5. Okay.
Yeah.
He's riding the hot hand.
Riding the hot hand. Yeah, he is. All right. So those are off the numbers. But now what you actually care about, not what we think, what does the model predict? And we've got the free play coming up for you right after this. All righty then. So our free prediction that we're giving out for the people, New England. Now listen, when they had the win here over Buffalo, I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was it a fluke? Is Buffalo's banged up? We saw what happened in the last Buffalo game as well over in Atlanta. What's happening here? But that being said, Drake May and the Patriots do look like they've got good things going, and not just what again the eye test, but the numbers tend to back that up. And I think really, stuff you tell me if I'm wrong, against a horrible Tennessee team.
Yeah, it's both. It's not only that the New England Patriots are playing pretty well, but we kind of have them as a mediocre team, 24th best offense, number 19th best defense. But exactly right. This Tennessee team is, as Cam Ward would say, ass. They're 31st in offense and 30th in defense. Oh yeah, their coach was just fired. Normally, a coaching fire would be a kind of a bounce back spot. Usually, teams get some motivation, but there's also an untangible here. The Vrabel effect. And Vrabel's back in town to say, hey, remember me? Remember you already fired your next coach? Hey, I was here. You didn't even have to fire me. I'm going to win by $1 billion. I think the revenge spot here is much, much deeper. And coming from one of the best coaches we know that just wins and covers, just like Vrabel. So, yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. New England -7. Really sharp play. I like this play a lot.
Yeah, no, same. Absolutely. I love this one. And now that is one play, but we have more, right? We have 4 plays on this week. And so if you want to know what the actual plays are, not just a little teaser we're going to put up for you right now, be sure to go to BTB-Analytics.com. We have the model table. It gets updated. When the lines move, the edges move, auto calculate, everything that you need to make a sharp bet is going to be there for you for every NFL and D1 college football game. And so be sure to check that out. 60% win rate year to date. That's exactly where we want to be. That is what actual professional winning sports betting looks like. So producer Eric, can we put that graphic back up? You can see here, 4 games, edges galore. We talked about the Patriots and the Titans on there as well. You can see matchups for the Giants, Broncos, Panthers, Jets, and Falcons Niners game as well. So with that being said, Steph, hoping to have another great week here. Obviously, we expect to win. We've been doing this, winning long term over the course of the season for the last few years, but nothing is guaranteed. How are you feeling going into week 7?
Yeah, feeling good. We're coming off a 70% win weekend, which is always really nice. Model is cruising along 60%, but we have a lot of season to go. We have a lot of games to go. We'll probably bet, another 50 games. So we got a lot of volume here. 4 games. I think it's good. The goal here with these 4-game slates, you got to go 3-1. So that's the goal. And I think we're already seeing some value in the market. So I think it's going to be a good week.
Yep. And we want you to have a good week as well. And to give yourself the best chance to do that, be sure to like this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, sign up. We have monthly, we have season-long packages, everything you need to be a successful bettor. Until then, we will be back next week doing college and NFL podcasts. We'll be chatting on the Discords. We'll be chatting on our social medias. You can find everything in our website. And until then, please stay sharp and good luck. Have a good one.